Hey, Kevin!
Wookie, what's happening? How are you?
Oh, it's the same old from the land of down under.
Well, I always have to remember whenever I'm calling you that you're like one day ahead of me. You're like Mr. Future Man.
Yeah, that's right. We're always, no matter what happens, you guys are never going to catch up to us. It's okay to be you.
So I hear, am I right that we now have flying cars in the future?
Sadly, not here. No, but the first thing that would happen if we got flying cars here,
They
yeah,
would
that's
they
the
crash.
kangaroo would take him out, and it'd be awful. It'd be a massacre. Oh yeah. You try to take off, and that's kangaroo. You'd hit him anyway. Oh,
He killed me. That's funny. Funny. Yeah.
uh,
Well, I was calling because I heard some rumors that
yeah.
you were visited by the Pon-tee.
Yes, yes. They had a boo boo, a couple of boo boos. It
Really?
was yeah, yeah, yeah. They might be stealth, but they are not ninjas. Let me tell you that for a fact.
They're not ninja.
No. Well, I mean, we because our house is a safe house like yours and Sue's
Yeah.
place, and we get the trainees that need the extra help, you know. And
Yeah.
because they know that if they stuff up here, it's not the end of the world, it's just practice, it's safe. So yeah, we had some funny incidents a little while ago. We had the trainees seem to come for about a month or so, maybe 2 months, and then there's a pause in activity, and then it starts up again.
Yeah.
And on this, we had a couple of months of this one particular trainee who was the most klutzy trainee I've ever come across. Like, this guy had accidents left, right, and center. And he also had a particular sweet tooth and a hankering for Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts, yeah. I mean, I can understand the Pop-Tarts, but not what you'd expect, but highly processed, refined grain. you know, I guess. So what happened is that when I go to America, I always bring back like a big bulk box of Pop Tarts, and we put them in the top of the cupboard so that we can give them as treats to the kids.
Yeah.
And so after they'd been sitting up there for a while, and one night, me and my wife woke up to the sound of like a massive smash. We thought maybe a window had been broken or something like that. So we go racing out of our bedrooms into the kitchen, and in the middle of the floor, several feet from the cupboard, was a smashed bottle of tomato sauce. Right in the middle of the floor, just vertical, drop down, splattered everywhere.
Middle of the floor, away from the
Middle floor. Yeah, like a meter and a half, 4 feet or something from the cupboard
didn't
where it been, and the cupboard door was closed.
it was actually out of the pantry and then on the floor.
Yeah, I mean the cupboard door was closed in. So,
Wow.
you know, me and my wife, we just kind of looked at each other, and we're kind of, we're getting used to the strange things that happen around here. So we just kind of shrugged it off. We were half asleep, and we just kind of cleaned it off and went back to bed. What happened? We heard something fall down in the cupboard, so I went to investigate, and on the floor of the cupboard was some Pop-Tarts, and packets were slightly torn, and they were sitting on the bottom of the floor with the box still up there on the shelf. And it was at that point in time that I realized what was going on, that it was a Pon-tee, and they were trying to get into the Pop-Tarts. So, I felt sorry for him. So, one night I left an open one in a clip seal bag on the bench, and the next morning I came out, it was gone. So, I think he appreciated that. But the best thing that happened, watching television, and all of a sudden from the pantry we hear the sound of what sounds like a child fall over in the pantry, ka-thump. And then we both look over straight away, and we hear the sound of what sounds like a head hitting the pantry door.
Thunk.
Thunk. Thunk. And the pantry door swings open like a third of the way and then closes again. And my wife just looks at me and she says, you're checking this one out this time. So I got up and I wandered around and I knew what was going on. And so I walked around and slowly opened up the pantry door and peeked in. And there on the floor of the pantry door again were more Pop-Tarts. So I thought to myself, that poor guy hit his head really hard. Yeah, it was shortly after that particular trainee, I think, finished his stint here. I don't know whether or not he passed or not.
To be determined.
Maybe try. I think he could probably repeat, or maybe he needs to.
Oh God.
But yeah, that was a very interesting experience. Stuff gets moved around here and disappears periodically, and then comes back a couple of months later. It's not that unusual, but you get used to it after a time. It's the new normal, right?
Yeah, that's cool. So they would take something off your shelf, like what kind of things?
Like handmade things, not mass-produced rubbish, but handmade things that are unique. Like a beaded bracelet, or like a clay sculpture or something like that. And it would disappear for between a couple of weeks and a couple of months, and then it would eventually come back exactly where we thought it had been. Like meticulously placed back. The longest one that ever went, I believe, went for 12 months.
12 months.
And it was a gold bracelet that I had made for my wife.
Oh.
And she knew exactly where she'd left it, and it just disappeared. And then one day, suddenly, it appeared straight back where she had left it originally.
I heard Sue and Otter talking about that kind of thing happening at their place too. But sometimes things would be returned when they're in their camper and they're hundreds of miles away from home, somewhere else. They'll come and drop it off wherever they are, and it just shows up on the table or something strange like that.
Well, I mean, that's not going to be much use to them back at home when they're out camping, is it?
Wait, thought you might need this, yeah.
Trainee 38917 felt very guilty about taking this, and so we've decided to return to you your 4-foot concrete garden statue of the gnome, and it's on your camper table. So we're sorry, we didn't know he had it.
The stories that gnome would be able to tell, if you can imagine.
You just look at these objects when you come back and just like, where have you
fall out of your pantry?
Like right in front of us.
Right in front of you.
Yeah. Wow. We did everything except literally see him. We almost did see him. Yeah. But yeah, no, they're definitely. I think sometimes they're just not very graceful, or they have bad days. They haven't had their morning coffee.
Something. Well, like I had a similar incident happen at my place in my apartment. I was sitting on my futon couch, on my phone, and about 4 feet away from me is this shelf, and on the shelf it has there's a speaker for my surround sound. I guess it's a small little speaker, and this little wooden statue of a guitar player, and the wire to the speaker goes down around the side, and then there's like a didgeridoo that was kind of in front of it, and it's like a long stick, and so I'm just there doing my thing, and all of a sudden I heard this crash, and I see the didgeridoo being pushed into behind my amplifier, it pushed the cord, because like it had the cord wrapped around it when it pushed in, and the speaker and the statue went flying off the shelf onto the floor, like 3-4 feet went flying. Like it was just like, what the heck? It wasn't a ghost. It was like some clumsy trainee leaned on something and it went. It's like, how
Set the whole thing over. Oh. Man, you know what? One day, I honestly, I can't wait to like until we can just see him in person. It's going to be a fun day. Yeah.
Well, that day is
going to be
coming.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Well, I mean, I tell you what, there are some strange things that happen, and you know, but you know, I couldn't think of a better place for them to happen than here. I'm more than happy for them to come visit here and you know, say hi. You know, you see them around the place periodically out of the corner of your eye and whatnot. You know, and yeah, and sometimes they even do things like grab your big toe when you're in bed, poke your feet.
Oh yeah.
I have a sneaky suspicion that they find the idea of feet sticking out from underneath blankets to be kind of comical. If you do that around here, you're more than likely to get one of your toes pulled or the bottom of your feet poked a couple of times.
Really? That's fun. I'll have to keep that one in mind. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, that was wild. That was great.
Yeah.
I know a lot more other tales of the Pon-tee. You know, close encounters of the Pon-tee kind. More stories. People have been sending them in, so there'll be a lot more. You know, a lot more videos that we can put together.
Yeah, I hear some crazy stories are coming in at the moment. As things are sort of heating up, so you know, I'd love to hear some more from other people.
Yeah, they're coming. I'll give you a call and let you know.
Thanks, Kevin.
Well, until the next time, peace out, and oh no.
Not again!